Hi, and welcome to GamePoints, our weekly little get-together where we discuss the previous weeks in news and just kind of complain about what we don't like in general. Thanks for tuning in if you're watching us live. If not, thanks for joining in the YouTube channel. Feel free to comment below, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown. Down there is Sean Brown. Sean, wave to everyone there. He's our esports correspondent, and across from him is David Smith. He's just our random third chair because I couldn't find anyone else to do the job. Thank you, David. I earned that.
No problem.
So before we get started, I do want to bring up one thing real quick. How about that Avengers trailer that just came out?
Dude,
Pants are so tight.
I'm so stoked to go see that at midnight.
Yeah, I'll be there for that almost for certain.
I will be there for certain. You can drive the hour and a half.
Hey, dude, he's coming from across the country.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Dude, whatever excuse you have is insufficient. Just shut it and show up, and we'll watch Avengers.
No,
we'll get drunk.
I still need to watch all the movies in the second wave. I haven't seen Iron Man 3, Thor 2, or Captain America Winter Soldier.
What?
Fucking up.
Haven't seen any
Dude,
of those.
What do you do with your life? Like,
Prep
do you
for
watch
this
movies?
fucking show that takes way longer than he thinks, despite it being such the amateur effort. And speaking of the show, we're going to go ahead and kick things off here with some unfortunately sad news. Maxis is closed. They're gone. They're done. Announced today. EA shuts doors on Maxis Emeryville, which was the majority of the shop, and layoffs at EA Redwood as well.
So
So
I don't
what does
get
that
my
bring-
cement too.
that's pretty good. But what does that bring the total count of studios that EA gets and then destroys up to?
You know, I don't have that number on me.
I feel like it's somewhere around 29 at this point.
I can't even-
42.
I'm trying to think of what else it could be, and damned if I can't remember what else they've shut down. But they have shut down other stuff before recently, like
Tons of things. Most of the things that they purchase ends up going out.
Montreal. Well,
That was Ubisoft,
Visceral Games?
wasn't it? No, Visceral Games working on a new Battlefield Hardline.
Oh, I thought they shut down one of their studios, though, like Visceral, like Montreal or some shit like that.
Oh, they might have. The thing is,
Yeah,
off
I
the top
don't-
of my head, I can't think of anything. But I know that EA has bought up a bunch of properties, ran them into the ground, and then closed the studio after them. Now, here's the overall problem that I have with necessarily laying all the blame at EA, though. Sure, all the crap that was in SimCity sucked. Sure, Sims 4 had a bunch of features cut in it, even though the Sims and the SimCity teams are two different teams, similar franchises. That doesn't excuse either one of them from being as buggy as all hell, and that lies solely on the developers. So they do have their fair share of blame to go around on this. I know that's a harsh thing to say to a bunch of people who lost their jobs, but you got to look at the facts, man. Yeah, EA sucks, and they put a bunch of restrictions on you, and they try to put some microtransactions in there, and they tried to do the always online thing with SimCity, but it's your job to make sure that game works, and it didn't. It was broken all to hell.
Yeah.
I feel like they've gotten by with like the Sims, like Sims 4 or whatever. It seems like a lot of people play this game, but I don't know anyone that plays this game.
It's like
an
Mad Men.
enigma.
How
Well,
everyone
there's a lot of
everyone
people that
loves it, but no
bought-
one's seen it.
a
Yeah.
ton of people bought that game because it was, the new SimCity, and everyone was really excited about it. And then it just suffered from horrible servers, just ridiculous shenanigans. And then there was the whole, oh, by the way, our game only works if you're connected to the internet. And then 2 weeks later, when no one could play it, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, we can just do this little patch that takes us 10 seconds and you can play it offline.
Let's take that aside. Let's assume that EA forced the always online stuff down Maxis' throat. Look at all the other shit that didn't work. Namely, like the way the road construction was set up. They would just traffic jam trying to take the shortest way home rather than the most efficient. Each sim was promised to have their own life and live their own house, but the way they worked is they just filled up the closest residential building to them, which caused all the traffic jams to begin with. There wasn't any commerce between the cities like they promised. There was a lot of shit that, yes, EA might have fucked up, but Maxis fucked up hard as well. So I can't alleviate their responsibility on this completely as much as I want to.
So I'm not going to get my cement too.
No.
The main thing to note is that while the Maxis studio closed, it's like their Emeryville location, so the brand isn't gone.
Yes, you will probably still see a SimCity. You will definitely see another Sims, though.
But that
Maxis.
team,
Go ahead.
like those guys that built Maxis, because I mean, this was from what I understand, like the core Maxis studio, right?
Yeah,
For
the people that worked at EA Emeryville were the ones that were with Maxis since EA bought them back in '97, I believe, and before then. They're all gone. The rest of the Sims universe team worked at EA Redwood, and they had some layoffs too. You'll still see a Sims 5, but
it's going to be made by a completely different group of people. They're just going to hand it to one of their internal devs and just shit out something.
Kind of like how EA still produces like a Command and Conquer game every now and then, but everyone that worked at Westward is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game ended with 3.
It's a really shitty thing because Maxis was an awesome studio, but they haven't done anything really stellar recently, and EA is just infamous for cutting things out when they don't make the money.
Well, yeah, but also EA is infamous for that. But remember, as much as I want to jump on the EA bashing train, you wouldn't have The Sims without EA. And that was, I mean, let's face it, The Sims is extremely popular. People love it. Wouldn't exist without EA. So there's a lot to love and there's a lot to hate about them.
They got LucasArts.
They do sports games well.
Yeah, they actually do sports games the people who love sports games love, for the most part, what they produce. Yeah. They do solid work. However, one thing, if you want to jump on the EA hate train that they did kind of douchey, is that they announced this during the busiest day of GDC, and it reeks of when like Washington, D.C. announces something late on a Friday night, hoping no one picks up on it and reports it because of the weekend. It's a really dick move to lay off the studio during the week of one of the biggest game conferences of the year when you're supposed to be talking about innovation and growth.
Oh, yeah, there's just a ton of news for products and everything else, and it's like, oh, by the way, we closed the studio, no big deal, no one really paid attention, here's whatever game we're announcing. It's rough.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's like you know, I was going to make a kid get cancer for Christmas joke and it just couldn't form, so we're just going to go ahead and move on.
Okay.
And moving
I don't know if
on.
I'm proud of you or not. I have no idea.
You should never be proud of me. I have no scruples.
It's all right,
I mean, the bar is so low.
It is. It's exceedingly low, and I still can't go over it.
We need to hire James Cameron to raise the bar.
Some good news, though. Well, not really good news, and it kind of ties to it. Sid Meier, also known for his strategies, most famously Civilization, announced that Sid Meier Starships was coming out. Well, we actually have a release date for that. It's launching March 12th, which is, what, next week? No, 2 weeks
that's
from
next
now.
Thursday.
Next Thursday?
That's next Thursday.
11 days.
Yeah. That's
9
not
days.
No, that's still not how math works.
You're so
9 days.
close. It's 8 days.
It's the 4th day, isn't it?
I don't fucking know.
The
It's March
13th? I don't
12th.
know.
One day.
Oh, it's 12th. I thought you said
Tuesday,
13th.
2 days.
No,
No,
my
March
bad.
12th.
Wednesday, what?
The big
Boy,
banner
yeah, it's 8
underneath
days.
that says
Third
March
day.
12th.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sid Meier's Starships coming out for PC and mobile devices, $15, I believe. Turn-based strategy game. Looks entertaining. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up, though the Sid Meier brand has a lot of faith.
I probably will. It looks super cool. Because I know we mentioned it a while back. And it's built on the same universe that Beyond Earth or
Beyond Earth.
Beyond Earth is. And it's really cool because I was looking at it and it's something where you build like your crew and you choose a faction and then you go out into space, and from the launch trailer that's basically you heard whisperings from one of your allied civilizations that have been missing for a really long time, and then you go after them and you realize that it was a call for help, and so you get all warlike and you go out and you start exploring the universe, and it's this cool little RTS built on a Civ thing.
There's a shit ton of customization for your units too in there. You can literally spend hours just assembling stuff.
Oh yeah, and making sneaky fighters that'll show up, and you can make giant tank destroyer type fighter, and like, I don't know, it looks cool. I'll play it.
I really like Sid Meier's games.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that surprises me is how quick this is coming out. This was announced last month? No, not soon. It was announced this year, if I recall.
It was announced less than the length that the show has been on.
Yeah,
You're right.
And we've
'cause
done
we
this
broke
7
that.
times. So
at
yeah,
least 7 weeks.
That's like a 2-month turnaround.
Damn, that's fast.
Yeah.
It's only 15, so there probably wasn't too much that went into it. They probably already had a lot of the existing infrastructure, and they just... It's more than just like a reskin of Civilization.
they also probably were working on it while they were doing Beyond as well.
It's true.
They
Probably got
they
bored.
probably
and started-
already yeah. I'm sure they were starting to work on it while they're doing the Civs game as well.
No, I'm
Or
sure
it could
they
even be
were.
something that they had planned on having some more Starship-based stuff in Beyond, and they never got around to it. So they're like, well, let's take all these assets that we started work on and just churn out
That's
something
probably
else.
more what I'm thinking has happened. What I'm curious to see is if it actually interacts with Beyond Earth at all. That I don't know. I'm sure the information's out there,
Supposedly,
but I haven't
Isn't
looked.
it supposed to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be able to take your save and your civilization from Beyond Earth and then apply that save basically into your Starships game so that your base civilization that you just cultivated are the ones that go into the stars.
Real quick before we continue on to a next topic, I just want to say I'm loving how active chat is tonight for those watching live. And you know what, Purple Rain? Keep scaring those kids. It's the only way they're going to learn to be afraid of everything.
I usually try and hit them.
You ever take the time to sit down with your kids and hit them?
That's how they learn.
More information breaking out last week and earlier this week is that load for me, damn you. There we go. PC MMO, free to play MMO, Neverwinter is good. It's going to Xbox One.
Have you guys played Neverwinter at all?
No, I haven't, but it looks entertaining.
I have not.
Neverwinter is actually pretty cool. It's on Steam. It's been on PC for a little bit, and it's a D&D-esque MMO.
Well, it is D&D. Neverwinter is the Forgotten Realms universe.
Yeah.
Same world, same universe as Baldur's Gate.
But it's actually pretty cool. I'm not a huge MMO guy, but I got into this for a bit, enough to get to like level 30 or so, which is farther than I get in most MMOs. And the combat's interesting. There's, I think, 7 classes available at launch right now. And I don't know, it's got a neat system where you can party by yourself, you can party with people, and it actually can still play as a single-player game because it's got a decent story, but then you can also still pack up your troops and go and fight all these crazy things that you can't really throw down with by yourself. And
So there's
I
raid
believe,
content?
yeah, and I believe the Xbox One version is actually coming with the Dragon expansion that came out recently as part of the base game.
do you fight?
40 in
Snakes?
chat says it looks like Smite. I'm not sure what Smite is.
Smite
It
is a
is
MOBA.
not a MOBA at all.
Here's my thing about MMOs. I actually legitimately enjoy MMOs. I just don't have the goddamn time for any of them. I can like pick one, and even then, I barely have the time to play it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally agree with that. I really enjoy playing them, and then I get mad because I don't play anything else.
Oh yeah, they can definitely suck you in. Another thing too is I have a hard time finding a group of people who have the exact same time that I have off.
Also the same
So-
interest.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's so many MMOs. Like for pretty much any fandom you can think of, there's an MMO for it. I mean, you can got people playing Lord of the Rings MMO, people playing Star Trek, people playing whatever else.
I'm this close to getting into that Star Trek free-to-play game, by the way.
And
Star
now
Trek Online?
Alex, and now our buddy's gonna go play Star Trek right now.
I've been looking into it again. I looked at it when it first came out. I was like, yeah, whatever. But
I played
keep
it. It's
hearing-
actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I want to see lasers shooting Borg.
Yeah, you can totally do that. And it's
Yeah,
actually, kind of
actually the
interesting because
start.
when you are still at the beginning and you suck, you can still go into instances that are higher level and it'll just raise your ship stats and your gunnery stats and your weapon damage and
Oh,
everything.
nice.
So you can start throwing down with the Borg early in the game. But it's funny because you don't have any skills. So you kind of suck, but you
So
do
you have like the
moderate
basic
amount of it.
attack, and that's it.
Pretty much.
My only problem is the ground combat. I have no interest in the ground combat at all.
Well, you can most likely play it and avoid the ground combat. I mean, there are going to be some story missions that involve you going to this place and fighting this guy and whatever, but you can also just be a dude who's flying around in space. Exploring new planets is one of the big things you can do. Gathering resources. Plus, you can reverse shield polarity. Like that's a button.
Star Trek, far more interesting MMO than Neverwinter.
Here.
Go play Star Trek.
Well, do you like sci-fi or do you like D&D? I mean,
Exactly.
if you like D&D, Neverwinter is also fun, but whatever.
Other
You
news
do you.
recently. Other news recently. Telltale's been making a lot of big moves. For the past few weeks, there's always been something about them in the news lately, either with expanding IPs or getting a new CEO. Well, they're in the news again this week, where it turns out that Lionsgate is actually investing heavily into the company.
Yeah.
That's kind of terrifying because Lionsgate has a lot of movie properties that you can throw out there.
Yeah, and some very famous ones right now that are making a lot of money, like Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, Twilight Saul. I want to see the Telltale's take on the Expendables myself.
I would totally watch Twilight Saw.
Twilight
Twilight Saw.
Saw.
They
Yeah.
also are the guys that did like Orange is the New Black, right? I feel like they had part in that.
I'm not 100% sure. I know they did Repo the Genetic Opera.
Oh my
Oh.
God! Press X to sing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be
Dude.
so down for that.
Press Y to use this guy's body as a puppet.
Repo was
Suddenly I'm
such
on
an
board.
entertaining movie. But also, something else is that they picked up former EA CEO John Riccatello. So there's a lot that, once again, love or hate EA, they are the business they
Good at
are.
making
They
money.
make a lot of money, and a lot of that is because they have the right people in the right places.
Yeah.
But new CEO Kevin Burnham from Telltale, in talking about the Lionsgate investment, said, quote, "Our partnership with Kevin Brunner," or I'm sorry, this is from Peter Levin from Lionsgate. I fucked this quote up already, but we're going to start over again. Quote, "Our partnership with Kevin Brunner and his team at Telltale continues to accelerate our momentum in the game space. The convergence between premium filmed entertainment brands and original game properties is a natural direction in which to continue diversifying our content business, and Telltale is the perfect partner with whom to explore this dynamic area of growth." Essentially, what Peter Levin from Lionsgate is saying is, we are going to use Telltale as a platform for Lionsgate to make games.
Yeah, that's awesome because it's the best way to bring in a movie company.
Well, they're also going to work on their own IPs, right? And start having like game/TV show or movie tie-ins.
I believe so. The point is, Lionsgate has a huge stable of properties they can roll out. I don't see them not doing that.
I'm waiting for Disney to start making Telltale games.
Oh, the Telltale games are super stylish and really popular, and they do that whole take you on a field trip thing, so that's fun.
Disney's game company has some weird stuff going on right now. They're trying to bring in all the properties into their own, so they have direct control over them. One of the reasons why you haven't seen Kingdom Hearts 3 yet is, I believe, that this is all conjecture, I believe one of the reasons why I haven't seen Kingdom Hearts 3 yet and why it's taking so long is because Disney and Square Disney wanted the license and Square wouldn't give it up.
If I was Square, like I would not hand that thing over.
No, it's like they're
It's their last
psychopaths.
remaining light.
Although 15 looks good. Disease 40 IPs are intellectual properties. Like, for example,
think
the idea of Star Wars, the Star Wars franchise is an intellectual property. For those who are wondering.
I typed it while you were talking with your face.
All right, then.
Well-
Other IPs out there are, well, Batman. Batman Arkham
Dude.
Knight coming out soon and recently got slapped with an M rating, and I'm excited for that.
That's pretty
Dude.
good.
Yeah, getting an M
want
rating
some-
is just automatically makes your game better.
Here's the
As
thing.
opposed to selling better, where people still like sitting in that T range so they can market it to more people. M games means that grown-ups might like it more.
Well, here's what's awesome about the M rating. Well, there's a couple things awesome about Arkham Knight in general. One, this is Rocksteady doing it, not the company that did Origins, which was still fun but lackluster for an Arkham game. But two, the M rating, they've come out and said here, I have a quote from a Rocksteady founder and producer, Sefton Hill. Quote, "As the end of the trilogy, we have every villain in Gotham working together to destroy Batman. It's unavoidable that some bad stuff is going to happen, but that doesn't mean we changed our approach. We're not including gratuitous blood or swearing. We want to deliver a true end with no compromises, and it takes us to some dark places." So, to me, what that says is, it ain't getting M because they've ramped up the violence. It's getting M because they're going dark, like Killing Joke dark.
Was
Dude,
that
yes,
a scarecrow that had claws made out of needles?
Yes. Scarecrow is actually the primary antagonist from this, from what I understand.
That was badass looking.
That's hot. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's super stylish. I'm just hoping
Yeah.
that the ending of it doesn't do a stupid jump the shark thing like the ending of Arkham Asylum did.
With
still one of
Joker becoming Super Joker or whatever. No, that was the first one.
No, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the first one.
Oh,
Arkham Asylum.
Clayface was the final boss of Asylum.
But that was just so rough because it's the Joker and he's this crazy smart ridiculous antagonist for the Batman, and they just make him super powered and you punch him to death and fight goons, and it's just super lame. I don't know.
I will say
That game was on point until that boss fight for me.
I will say this about the Arkham franchise. One, I'm super excited to see Scarecrow back because he was the best parts in Arkham Asylum. And two, the best Riddler in the Batman franchise I've ever seen. I love the voice actor for the Riddler in this.
Oh yeah.
All these guys look pretty awesome. The Poison Ivy even looks really detailed. I like the Poison Ivy look too.
But yeah, no, I am. This comes out soon. I want to say it's June. I don't have an exact date for you, unfortunately. But yeah, I love the Arkham games, even Origins, which was the weird side story one, or the prequel one, but was done by a different team. Still enjoyed it, even if it had its fair share of problems.
So they influenced like a whole bunch of games combat, if you think about it. Like what Arkham Asylum did with like the counters and the jumping and like basically the endless combo fighting.
They finally was able to make a single player Final Fight equivalent in a 3D world that felt fluid.
And it made you feel like Batman. It made you feel like a badass. You just know what's coming up. You block moves, you throw people, you're jumping over stuff, and it's, I don't know, it
is
flowed
the absolute
really well.
best Batman simulator I've ever played.
For sure. Plus, I just like swooping on motherfuckers.
Just falling down and knocking them out.
The fighting system felt like a smoother version of Assassin's Creed's fighting system.
And you know what's kind of funny about that fighting system, though? It's nothing more than a very well hidden QTE.
Yeah. No, that's
because it's just press this button at this time. It's just they do it so well.
Yeah, they actually did
Creed
it properly. It's not press X not to die.
Exactly. And
press
some
X not to lose your multiplier. It's way different.
And some not so good news. The PC version of Grand Theft Auto 5 has been delayed yet again.
Yeah,
Why?
I wanted to talk about this a little bit too because I was a little mad. Like I already own it on PS4, but I still got a little mad about it. And then a friend of mine brought up a good point where he basically wrote an article about it and how he set it up to be like a rager, and then he was like, GTA got postponed, and I'm absolutely happy for it because I'm tired of games releasing games that aren't ready, and you have to patch them immediately anyways. So at least the game company is taking the initiative to go, listen, it's not ready yet. We're not going to release this because it's going to be a subpar game.
I'm fine with that too. Don't give us a release date then.
I just want it. I want it super bad.
Not only don't give us a release date, don't give us as many release dates as Rockstar has done with this. They did make a big apology, though, to gamers. Press release from Rockstar Games says, quote, "Our apologies to PC gamers worldwide who have been counting down the days until the launch of the game, but a bit more time is needed to ensure that the game is as polished as possible and to make certain that both Heist and the GTA Online experience are ready to roll out on day one for PC. As a gesture of thanks for your understanding, we will grant anyone who has pre-ordered the game an additional $200,000 in-game cash for use in GTA Online." I think that might bring the total to a couple $1 billion of freebies they're giving out for having delayed it so many times.
Still on pre-order on it, though.
You sure that's 1.2 billion digital dollars, son?
Yeah, I don't care, dude.
That is easily
you can
worth
play
your
the
50
game
cash.
and get paid. I don't need that.
What's more important to you, $1.2 billion in digital bucks or 50 American?
I'm gonna go with my gamer pride.
That's barely worth 40.
Sean, anything you want to add on this?
No, I already pretty much put my 2 cents onto it. I'm sure we'll talk about it when it comes out and how pissed everyone is that it's still buggy.
All right.
Although, another news, have you guys seen the 4K screens for that game? Because it looks just stupid good, and there's no way I'm going to run it at max, and it sucks.
Rocksmith, I can't suck a dick. Rocksmith is Rocksmith. Rockstar always makes just beautiful fucking games. Like you get lost in the games by just driving around and looking at the fucking scenery.
Well, Rockstar is one of those companies that literally can get away with murder because their games sell so much. Their games sell so much. They can go, you know what? Take Two, I'm going to sit here and do nothing for 6 months, and you're going to sit back and like it because I produce Grand Theft Auto.
Pretty much. Well, the other thing is that game is going to continue to look good for a really long time. Because, I mean, if you've seen what modders have done to GTA 4,
oh my god, yeah,
ridiculous good that game
there
looks.
Are modders who have, modders who have updated the engine to GTA 4 to look like GTA 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're starting with a 4K version of that. And then you're going to play with that.
Something that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, though, is... No, wait. Something that is going to cost you way more than an arm and a leg. It's
This is
this
going to cost you
dumbass
3 pieces.
It's this dumbass Dying Light Collector's Edition that's coming out. Now, Dying Light hasn't released in the EU yet. And they're getting... The digital version has, but the physical actual copy hasn't. So people who've been waiting to play it on consoles can drop a shit ton of money and get the, oh my god, it's coming right at you, Collector's Edition, known as the My Apocalypse Edition. This fucking thing runs for £250,000, which roughly works out to be just shy of 400,000 American. It comes with, your face in the game, slapped on one of the monsters there. A life-size statue of one of the volatiles. Parkour lessons. 4 copies of the game. 2 Razer Tamat headphones. Branded night goggles and a stack of adult diapers, which that's fucking stupid.
That's hilarious.
A round-trip party to Techland to party with Steve, the zombie consultant, and play in a rigged match so you can say you beat all the devs. And the big thing is this massive zombie-proof shelter provided by Tiger Log Cabins, who specialize in doing custom, essentially custom playhouses for people.
Yep.
They're going to build you a shelter.
I want that house.
Teach you how to parkour.
Teach you how to parkour through your house that they made for you.
I'm just
That's the
waiting
only
for
place
some...
they'll teach you to parkour, though. You don't get to learn to parkour in like real life.
I'm waiting for someone to bust their ass during those lessons and then just sue Techland into oblivion.
Well, you got to sign a waiver.
That'll never happen. Yeah.
Spend $400,000, sign a waiver, you'll be fine. Waivers get you out of anything.
This is exclusive through UK retailer Game, which is kind of like their version of GameStop over here. Like this has been tried before. If you recall, Saints Row had the Ultimate Presidential Edition that came with like a $350,000 sports car.
And a hooker.
And the solid gold statue of the game or something like that. No one bought that, as far as I can tell. So, yeah, this is a great way to get some free publicity out here. But, come on, it's like the Neiman Marcus catalog. It's just ridiculous.
You think
it's
they're
dumb
actually...
for the sake of being dumb.
You think
Yes.
they actually have it planned, just like they have something just in case someone actually does do it? Or do you think they'll just panic and like rush everything? Like, oh shit, someone actually did this. Like, we better call up this people to build this one thing really fucking fast.
I'm sure they
Somebody
have...
go buy some wood and a hammer. We got to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
You want the real answer to this, and I'll tell you what. I'm sure that they have things written in it that says estimated delivery date 6 to 8 months or whatever
Years.
it is. But
Years.
what I think happens is you'll have a place like Tom's Log Cabins or whoever made was that log cabin, and the people who are teaching the parkour lessons go, hey, we have this idea for some advertising. How about we, and they go ball and they work it out, and they know that it's not going to sell, but they know everyone's going to talk about it for a few bits and try to get some advertising that way for it.
So
They can
it's
at
a
least
big
get people
thing.
to Google the companies, right?
It's a big thing in the music industry that they actually do this when they release albums. Like, there's certain bands that do this where they'll be like, buy our album for $10, get the album. Buy for $20, get the album and like an autograph. And like it goes up. And Josh Freese, the drummer for a whole bunch of bands, released a solo
I
album.
remember this.
And one of them was like $70,000. You get to go to his house. He flies you to his house. You get to hang out with Maynard, the lead singer of Tool. Drive around in Danny Carey's Lamborghini, the drummer from Tool. Play miniature golf while on acid with Josh Freese. And then like he writes you a 4-song EP that's about you. And you get to hang out at his house for like 3 days. Someone actually did that.
Now that's money. If I had like Bill Gates money, that would be one of those things. It's like, fuck yeah,
Well,
I'll do it. Shit.
Apparently, so because this actually did happen, someone paid the $70,000. When it happened, was apparently the guy's father had died and left him just like a ridiculous amount of money, and he was like, "Me and my dad really bonded by listening to your music." So he actually paid the $70,000 to meet him. So they did all these things, and that's fucking awesome. That like that shit actually can happen.
Just tell me there's like a YouTube video of them mini golfing on acid somewhere.
Probably, dude.
That's what I want to see.
And Maynard. Oh, and Maynard sends you a package of bacon for a month.
What?
Just
Yeah,
a month?
like.
Or like a
yeah.
package of bacon a month for like a year.
It was something ridiculous, but like fancy smoked bacon, like they got shipped in from like like Europe and stuff like that.
Send me some of his wine.
That's fucking awesome.
Ugh.
I like how we can make fun of a thing a game company does, but
So
music
we have
artist doesn't. It's totally
the
legit.
music industry has been having scaling rewards for a while, long time, and something else that does that is Kickstarter. And you know what? Kickstarter has finally fucking jumped the shark. Remember how last week I mentioned Toe Jam and Earl, and neither one of you two knew what the fuck Toe Jam and Earl was?
Dude, that's because I don't like things.
It's a Sega game, and it was really fucking stupid, and there's no reason it should ever come back, but fucking Kickstarter being what it is. Toe Jam and Earl back in the groove on Kickstarter with 22 days ago has already raised half its money.
Whatever, dude. People want to throw their money at stuff. Let them do it. There's like no reason to get mad about this.
I know there's no reason to get mad at it. I've gone on my Kickstarter rant a couple times, but it's one of those things I look at and I'm like, son of a bitch, really? One thing that I found really odd, like who could love Toe Jam and Earl this much, is that you already have a backer for the $10,000 pledge.
Yeah, somebody loves Toe Jam and Earl.
Our podcast should make a Kickstarter.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No? Just for the hell of it.
Just kill that right now. I don't know. I always just... I get that it's people doing what they want with their money. I get that. I can't help but feel when I see people who have names established in the industry like Peter Molyneux or Tim Schafer starting Kickstarters, I look at that and you go, you're fucking taking advantage of your audience. You have the name and the talent to actually go out and find real investors for your product. It's just something scuzzy about it. I get that it's a losing fight. I get I'm not going to win that fight. It has never sat right with me. In addition, about half of all Kickstarters fail and fail horribly. So people are literally throwing their money away and not getting anything from it.
But for smaller teams that are making games that could potentially be super awesome, it's kind of clutch.
Dude, there's been some good shit from Kickstarter. Darkest Dungeon. Wasteland 2. Shadowrun.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
But for every one of those, there's a Stomping Lands.
Dinosaurs.
Oh, man.
Okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be mad at Kickstarter. John's going to be apathetic to Kickstarter. I'm going to mildly support some Kickstarter things.
I just don't care about lives. You want to throw your money at something? You do you, boo.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I'm not saying people shouldn't be able to spend the money the way they want. My rage isn't against the consumer side of Kickstarter. My rage is against the production side of Kickstarter.
The big names, the guys that are showing up and just trying to cash in.
It's like, you son of a bitch, you're trying to get free money out of people. That's what fucking
cash
investors
in,
are for.
Bro down. That's the third step. I think the problem is
Kickstarter. You guys are getting a bunch of free money from people for no reason. I want to give money for a bunch of people for no reason.
Startup, cash in, bro down.
Go fuck yourself.
Sounds good.
Go fuck yourself.
That was unnecessary.
Going to a completely different topic, VR. It's been a big thing lately. You have Sony coming out. You have the Morpheus. You have Valve's newly announced partnership with HTC and their Vive or VIVE, whatever it is.
I'm going to go with Vive.
You have Xbox's HoloLens, which is doing more of an augmented reality as opposed to VR. You have Samsung's stupid-ass thing where you put your cell phone, put that in there.
Oh, yeah. You plug your phone into your eyeballs, and you're like, I'm in virtual reality.
Which is like a ghetto version of the Virtual Boy, but progressing, moving on.
A lot more, man.
A lot of this Vive information started coming out. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it because it's a lot of tech jargon no one wants to listen to live. If you're interested, you can look it up. But essentially, they announced a partnership with HTC at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona that they're working with a VR headset called Vive. It's going to come in... I completely lost my place. I apologize.
1920 to 1080.
It's going to come in 1200 by 1080 screens that support refresh rates of 90 frames per second, blah, 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 blah. HTC does note that companies such as HBO, Lionsgate, and Google are going to have have access to it, and consumer models should be out later this year.
Point of interest. Their whole thing was like the two screens and the 90 frames per second. They say have alleviated a lot of the dizziness and motion sickness that people are getting.
Which is something that
I've Oculus, for example.
I've used the Oculus a couple times. It has made me motion sick, but I think that's something that you can get used to. It's just very disorienting at first.
I thought it was awesome. I was like, whoa, and then I had to leave because they wouldn't let me keep standing there.
Well, you had to put your pants up.
I don't know why.
I'm beating it in the game. It feels like I'm beating it in real life.
Sony also
stop beating it in public.
Sony also showed off their Project Morpheus for the first time in the wild that I can think of. Their system's very similar. Once again, a bunch of tech specs we're not going to get into. As you can see in the video here, 5.7-inch OLED display. Should be coming out first half of next year.
Can we make a point of interest on the Morpheus though?
By all means.
As opposed to the other VR headsets that people are looking at, this thing only works with the PS4.
Very
So
true,
unless
and
you have
that's
a
going to be a problem.
PS4, no reason to buy a Morpheus.
Much like how the Microsoft HoloLens looks really cool, probably only going to work with Windows 10 and higher.
Yeah, but at least that is going to slowly get market share as they phase out older version of Windows. With
also,
PS4,
it's a free upgrade to Windows 10 from 7 and 8 when it comes out.
yeah, so that
that's
just
true.
gives you an install base. With this, it's going to be an expensive part that you have to buy in addition to having a PS4, which makes it a lot scarier for developers.
No, for sure. You were saying that, without getting to the minutia about it, that because since they're introducing this after the console's already launched, it's going to be a lot harder for developers to plan around.
Yeah, because one of the main things that I was reading about it is that they actually have to develop games specifically for Morpheus. It's not the kind of thing, for example, with the Oculus, where they can add in Oculus support after the fact. The Morpheus, it kind of needs to be built in from the ground up of the dev cycle. I mean, they may find some way around that eventually, but at the moment, that's kind of what it's looking like.
When it comes down to it, when you take a look at all of them, when you look at Valve's and Microsoft's and Sony's and Samsung's thing, I still look at all of VR in the end as just an expensive gimmick. It's going to be something that everyone thinks they want, but no one's actually going to buy. Remember a few years back when 3D came all the rage again? Everyone's like, holy shit, I'm going to buy this 3D and 3D TV, and we're going to have these 3D viewing parties, and I've got my $100 glasses. All that shit is sitting in a cabinet somewhere gathering dust. No one gave a goddamn after a while.
I have a 3DS. I turned on the 3D one time when I bought it.
Yeah.
And then I never turned it on again.
Yeah. Same thing with like it. We have such a problem as a consumer to where we buy this gimmicky ass thing that sounds really fucking cool and do nothing with it. 3D, for example, the Wii.
Although
how many people bought a Wii and then just went, holy shit, this is great for like 6 months and never touched it after.
A bunch of people overweight looking to lose weight.
And old people. But there's one thing that VR has over other gimmicky things like 3D and stuff like that. There's a specific market that tends to make things popular and make things work out, and it's porn. And as soon as they put that in VR, those things are staying around.
Well, they have to embrace it. Here, the problem is that people thought that with Blu-ray as well. The problem is that when we started having really high-def porn come out, people are like, holy crap, these people are torn up. And they stopped.
I want to get deep in there.
They stopped making the high-def stuff because people were like, holy shit, I want Nikki Sterling to look less like the 48-year-old she actually is.
Well,
I got detail.
Whatever. First person banging. I'm just saying.
I'm down, dude.
At the end of the day, VR to me is a peripheral. And what do we know about peripherals? They don't sell.
We should buy all of them. Wait. Sorry, I missed the meeting.
That's not it at all.
First person
I'll buy one if it gets cheap enough.
My dick is 12 inches long. Why did it shrink?
That's a good band name.
My Johnson is 12 inches long.
I'm jacking it in the game, and it feels like I'm jacking it in real life.
Moving on to...
We went full circle, so you guys know.
Moving on. The people who made Contrast, a studio called Compulsion Games, released this trailer for We Happy Few. Now,
tell me you have the trailer.
Oh, I've got the trailer. It's starting up right now. Now, here's what's awesome about this. The second I saw this, I immediately got that Bioshock twinge to me. It starts off with this guy that you're seeing here with like a painted Harlequin mask face almost, and he's given the whole 60s newscast thing. And then it fades out to this mod era 1960s London, which speaks to me of like classic sci-fi shows like The Prisoner, which I absolutely loved. Definitely a Bioshock vibe going on here too.
I got a bit of a V for Vendetta vibe also.
Yeah, a little bit, especially with this shit right here when the camera, bam, right there and just turns towards you. I have the volume turned down so we can talk over it, but by all means, take a look at the trailer. I am so fucking excited for this game, and this is all that's out right now. It's a good trailer.
Yeah, it's super stylish. No one really knows exactly what it's about, but all we can really go off is the guys that made Contrast, which wasn't overly well received, but it was super stylish and had a really cool aesthetic. and did some really interesting things. So while it didn't get a ton of success, it was popular enough that they can kind of continue with what they're doing.
When I see those dudes come at him with like that pipe wrench, I just want to hear Beethoven's Fifth play while like you get hit with like a giant phallus.
I'm actually reminded, this is where my old school nerd cred come in. There's an original episode of Star Trek, like Captain Kirk Star Trek, where they landed on this utopia planet, but once every hour or so, people just go apeshit and murder each other. And if you
That'll
didn't,
balance out.
if you didn't follow the regime, people will start looking at you going, "What's wrong, citizen? Are you not happy?" And like you had to like report to Leandro, or which is I think a computer that was running amok. But clearly, a lot of science fiction TV show inspiration behind this. Like I said, The Prisoner, the old Star Trek. Clearly, some BioShock inspiration there.
I really do.
Also, with the last,
have a big Clockwork Orange vibe from it too.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, did anyone else get that feel from the last scene, especially? Like, it seems fun.
Well, that was my reference about the pipe wrench.
Okay,
just
I
beats
feel you, dog.
that guy.
Yeah.
Other things that I found kind of interesting this week is that World of Warcraft, gold selling has always been a problem in MMOs, and there's always like a demand for it, though. The reason why there's a supply is because there's a demand. Well, WoW's going to start letting they buy gold, which is going to drive thousands of Chinese prisoners out of work, if you've heard those stories.
Yay!
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
So from what I read from this, you can actually buy in-game, like you can buy time with money and then turn them into in-game tokens and then sell them on the auction house for gold. So you can actually use gold to buy time and vice versa.
Yes, it's double jointed system. Here's the web page where Blizzard explains it. Essentially, you can buy a WoW token from the auction house and redeem it for 30 days of game time. Or you can buy a WoW token from the shop and then sell it for gold in the auction house.
Yes.
But once you buy the token with gold, it becomes soulbound to you, so you can't resell it again.
Yeah, and for people like me who just have a ridiculous amount of money because I played that game for so long, that game has now become free to play.
Well, it's actually funny because it reminds me of EVE Online. Because EVE Online has the ability to buy in-game time with currency for forever, basically. And it's the kind of thing where if you get good enough at it and you have a good supply of income, you play the game to play the game.
I feel like Final Fantasy 11 had a very similar thing with like world transfers and stuff like that too, where you could do it in-game.
Yeah, it's been so long since I played 11, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but I like this. It's a good direction. It's a good way to go. We're not going to make it free to play, but if you want it free to play it more to make it free to play.
I believe they've actually come out and said, we are not going free to play. If you think that's where this is leading, that's not happening.
I didn't say it was going to. I said it's a good way to get around it.
One thing, too, is it does kill the gold seller market. Unless they can, if they can undercut the gold seller market.
No, absolutely. And actually, to be honest, Blizzard's pretty on top of banning the shit out of people who buy gold.
Yeah, they're very, very
it'll be interesting. The economy will be probably strange for a little while.
The economy already blew its balls in World of Warcraft with the last two expansions, so it's not going to change anything.
It all to hell.
Yeah, they made crafting in that game just basically you do it for gear, not selling anymore. So the economy of that game's tanked.
Was it you guys I was talking with about how there is a gnome player called Bernie Madoff?
He was on my server. I told you about him.
Was it you that told me about it? Okay, I couldn't remember who it was exactly. Yeah, and he just like cornered the market on everything.
That dude would just buy everything out and resell it, and his name was Bernie Madoff.
Excellent.
It's harsh.
Yeah.
Another article that I found interesting very recently was that No Man's Sky is just way too fucking big for even the people who made it to test everything about it. So No Man's Sky, for anyone who doesn't know, is supposed to be this massively procedurally generated world where you can just explore the universe. And it is a literal universe. Something like 18 quintillion worlds. I didn't even know quintillion was a word.
It's a number big enough that people can't actually comprehend it.
No, they can't.
Like you couldn't put that in terms of like, I mean, I guess you could throw a bunch of zeros up and try and imagine it, but there's probably more planets and more things to explore in that game than everyone can explore for the rest of their lifetimes.
Correct. So what the developers for No Man's Sky did is that they built a little AI probe, and they sent this out, and they went, here, go explore. And it will just go quickly through, take frames of some planets, make like an animated GIF, and send it back to them. And the people will take a look at this GIF and go, okay, this planet is way too fucking red, or there are way too many red planets lined up. Credit where credit's due, by the way. This came from an article from Polygon. They're the ones who talked to these guys about it. I don't want to make people think I just talked to them about it. This is all from Polygon.
Heard of it from us first.
You're hearing it first. Second.
But yeah, just to give you an idea of the scale of that fucking thing and how massive it is, just think about it. The people have made a game that they themselves don't know what's in it.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
And I'm pretty sure they had to build way more than one probe. They built tons of probes and gave them basically the ability to judge art. They taught robots to be artists and sent them out in order to interpret the universe, see things that may be an issue, and report it back. And that's pretty awesome.
This is one of those things where we're literally making simulations the equivalent of the size of our universe in a contained thing. What starts happening when that fucking contained thing starts making simulations of a universe into itself?
Dude, that's where we live.
It just fucking loops back into itself.
Yeah, we live in some other version of No Man's Sky.
I am just blown away by
Boom,
that idea.
mind blown.
I'm not necessarily excited for No Man's Sky personally, but the fucking tech behind that idea is insane. I can't wrap my head around it. It's nuts.
So it's the AI that leads to Skynet.
The only reason I'm not completely overwhelmed with it is that Star Citizen is also a thing that exists. It's like we're back to the time of space exploration sci-fi games, and it's very, very exciting.
I got an AI battle question for you too. Who wins in a fight, Skynet or Ultron?
I want to say Ultron because Ultron has it seems like it has more of a less predictable mind, whereas Skynet is more robotic. It follows a set of subroutines.
Yeah, but check it out. Skynet is going to throw shit back in time.
Ultron time travels. You can't use time travel as an equalifier. They both do it.
Oh well. Something robots, something I won the argument, something shut up, Steven.
Go watch Avengers.
Hey, you haven't even seen all the Marvel movies. Get out of here.
No, I need to catch up before then. We're going to wrap up the big news with a few quick GDC bits that are happening right now. These are news stories that really didn't warrant their own article or their own section, but I found interesting anyways. And it starts off with the Xbox One version of Shovel Knight's going to have Battletoads in it.
Woo!
Yay!
Does that mean it's going to be more tough?
Does that game going to involve 2 dragons?
No. It might. Shovel Knight's been out for a while. I couldn't tell you. But
talking about Battletoads.
I want it to be way harder as soon as you get Battletoads.
Double Dragon, gotcha. So yeah, Battletoads are going to be in the Xbox One version of Shovel Knight, and that got followed up with the person who was presenting that essentially going, I wonder will they show up next? More cock teasing for a potential Battletoads reboot. Once again, let me remind you viewers, Battletoads is not as good as you think it is. It is not as good as you remember. It was fun, but it wasn't great. In fact, it was frustrating as all fuck and broken in several parts.
Snake Mission. People know what I'm talking about.
David, you want to say something?
I was going to say hard games are popular. Like that's a thing that's kind of come back. Frustrating games, roguelike games, permadeath games, stuff that's just tough to play. It's kind of seen a resurgence for a little bit. So if they can make a Battletoads that's decently coded and not glitchy as all hell, but still difficult and more importantly enjoyable to play, then they can do something with it.
That said, Bloodborne comes out later this month.
Yeah, a roguelike Battletoads would be sick.
No.
Yes, it would.
Other quick hits. Wasteland 2, another Kickstarter project, came out on PC. Fantastic role-playing game. That's also coming to Xbox One. Elite Dangerous.
Wasteland 2, for those that don't know, is a sequel to Wasteland, which is the game that came before Fallout.
Fallout is essentially the spiritual successor to Wasteland.
Wasteland.
In fact,
Wasteland
a lot of the
same
same
people
worked on it. Wasteland 2 is an actual honest-to-God sequel to Wasteland. It takes place like 15 years later. Some of the same characters pop up again. It is an honest-to-God sequel.
It's also stylish.
Very, very stylish. Lots of weird humor. Lots of it's Fallout. Old Fallout, not new Fallout. Elite Dangerous coming to the Xbox One as well. This is the recent release flight sim that just came out. We mentioned it earlier in the show. Stardock, the publisher behind Sins of a Solar Empire, is developing a couple RTSs. One of them was called Servo, and another one coming up is called Ashes of the Singularity.
Which looks dope.
Yeah, it looks like Supreme Commander. Super excited for it.
Supreme Commander on acid.
Yes, thousands of units on the screen at once.
I'm going to use 5 monitors.
With that, the other thing that I really took away from reading the stuff about that game is that not only do you have a ton of units on side or on screen at once, but they all have like independent weapon systems, and like we'll be able to shoot guns in different directions, and it's not going to be here's a unit of 8 guys that are shooting at one thing for all intents and purposes. That's one unit.
Yeah.
As far as it's concerned, it's going to be a bit more dramatic.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more information come out on that. I'm holding judgment at the moment. Starduck has not led me wrong so far. Both their early access games, Off-World Trading Company and Sorcerer King, are entertaining.
But I feel like it might destroy computers. You may need to upgrade your computer to like get super crazy into that.
Well, it's being built around DirectX 12.
Okay.
So we'll see. I think
He's trying to give you a segue.
I think anything in the yes, because NVIDIA also revealed today the Titan X GPU. One bit of confusion: they had their conference yesterday, but they fucking revealed this today. I don't get why they didn't reveal it yesterday when everyone was watching the conference.
Because it's funnier.
Supposedly a 12 gigabyte GPU. No details on pricing or release or availability. Expected to cost $1,500.
It's going to cost all of your
easily.
money. It's going to run everything.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say $1,500. And the first card that was out was apparently handed off to someone. I don't have that story. Never mind.
It was handed off to some stranger.
These are why GDC bites. These are not GDC well documented and researched.
Exactly. We're just moving on. A couple of announcements. Wolfenstein: The Old Blood standalone prequel to Wolfenstein, which was one of my favorite first-person shooters of last year. Wolfenstein was surprisingly good.
Really
That's going to come
stylish.
out on May 5th, right around the corner. Mad Max has a release date of September 1st, as does Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh,
Light some candles.
Yes.
With lights down low.
With the PC version coming out on September 15th, 2 weeks later.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Although that's better than the ridiculous wait of GTA. So I'm still happy with it.
I'm going to take my shirt off, have some me time when that day comes around.
I'm gonna rub
Really
my
get to know the game intimately.
Now, Metal Gear and I have always had a very emotional relationship, one could say. And I'm very much looking forward to this one. However, I still haven't finished Ground Zeroes. Like, I mean, I haven't even finished it once. I played it for like 5 minutes.
How have you not
this
finished
is cool.
Ground Zeroes?
I know. I get it. I played
Ground
it for like
Zeroes
5
came out
minutes and went,
on
this
Steam.
is cool.
I bought it on Steam, and then I
went
beat
to
it on Steam. What is your problem?
I
You need to
just,
consume more media.
I can't fucking get into it. I think I need to play Peace Walker first, because every time I start doing it, I go, man, I feel like I'm missing stuff. I need to fucking play Peace Walker.
It's Metal Gear. Of course you're missing stuff.
You can probably find a copy of Peace Walker.
Hideo Kojima is missing stuff from Metal Gear Solid.
I'm pretty sure I've got the collection somewhere, and that comes with Peace Walker, but fucked if I know. However, one thing to note of Metal Gear Solid 5 is that it's coming with a rather interesting collector's edition. It's going to come with a replica of his bionic arm in there, a badass packaging, in my opinion, with the Diamond Dogs logo on there, steelbook art case, map of the area, a whole bunch of digital download stuff. But that fucking arm looks like it's Cyberdyne Systems 101.
Oh, yeah. That's super cool. Also, the packaging looks like it's made of leather. Like, it's super dope.
Now, I want to
There's
get a hold
also
of that. I want to see how big it is, because if it's, like, big enough and it's in the right shape, that thing's going to become my wine bottle holder.
Or just hold your beer.
I want to make love
You
to
could
this game.
Dude, you could get the bionic arm and then make love to the bionic arm. The true stranger.
I was thinking... Never mind.
Dude, some jackass just goes to the store, picks this up, and immediately pulls out this machete and cuts off his arm and, like, duct tapes it to there.
I applaud that, man.
But you know it's only going to be, like a quarter of the size of an actual arm. It's going to do, like, the Dead Space replica plasma cutter
God.
thing. And so
Yeah.
he's got, like, this fucking T-Rex thing going on.
Worth.
That's
It.
depressing, but it looks super cool. I'm still not going to pre-order it, though.
See, what I've done
It's
instead
okay,
of... what I've done instead
just
of
gotta-
pre-ordering is I've gotten big on the digital midnight release.
That's
Yeah.
chill.
Or you can just go to Fry's and buy the collector's edition the next day because they never sell out shit and they always have collector's editions of stuff for some reason.
Or you can wait 3 months after that and buy it at Fry's for like $20.
Nope.
How many people dropped $120 on the Skyrim collector's edition, and you can fucking buy it at Fry's for $20 now? It's the collector's editions are not collectors anymore. They're cheap cash grabs.
They make at least 12 of them.
I got a bunch of shit that I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna buy this $120 thing and I'm gonna resell it in 2 years for like $200. And it's like, no, that's fucking $20.
I think the coolest thing recently I've got out of a game, it wasn't even that great of a collector's edition, or a game, but the MW3, the journal that Soap kept, I really like that book.
That was awesome, especially with the little trinkets inside there.
Yeah, the pictures and the notes that are actually inside the booklet, like that was really well done.
Yeah,
I like stuff like that.
Yeah, that stuff's good. David,
don't give me a fucking 3-inch plasma cutter.
No, that pissed me off.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the other thing was harsh.
The rage.
Yeah, I remember one time when I got an Assassin's Creed game and it came in a metal tin and it came with the action figure and everyone was excited about the Assassin's Creed action figure and it was seriously like this fucking big. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Moving on to new releases this week. Some of this has already come out because the show was rescheduled on Monday, but prior commitments of GDC. Kind of a slow week. Big news week, but slow on new releases. You have Mario vs. Donkey Kong tipping stars on 3DS and Wii U.
I want tripping stars. That sounds way better.
Hell yeah, dude.
Mario vs. Donkey Kong tripping balls. Ollie Ollie 2 on Xbox One, Vita, PS4, PC, PS3, 3DS, and Wii U. That's also your PlayStation Plus free game, or one of them.
Oi.
It's actually entertaining. It's hard as fuck, but it's entertaining.
Ollie Ollie was a pretty cool game. Dude, the main thing, Ollie Ollie 2 is that company's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 because they introduced the manual.
There's only one skating game, and that's Skate or Die.
Oh.
Also this week, Helldivers, which I was hoping would be on PlayStation Plus, but still worth the $20 purchase. We showcased it last week with a quick little video. It's essentially Starship Troopers meets Magicka.
Hell yeah, it is, dude.
Starship Troopers, the twin stick shooter.
Yes, definitely worth getting into. And that does it for new releases this week, or I should say yesterday, since we're broadcasting on a Wednesday. Sean,
you can go buy these things right now. Woo!
Sean, there's been some movements in esports with League of Legends specifically.
Correct. There are a few announcements to go over, just team rosters real quick. Nothing too major, and I want to go on a quick rant at the very end of this. The first one is Crepo, a long-lasting support in the League of Legends community. He's been on EU teams, North America teams. Season 2, he was one of the best supports in the world. Joined Elements, replacing Nymph, in which he rejoins his teammates Froggen and Wicket, who played with CLG EU and got 4th in Season 2 Worlds. Wicket is taking over for Kevin, which replaced Wicket last week, if you're keeping score. So this team is just switching players left and right. But it's slowly becoming CLG EU Season 2.
If we sub enough, eventually we will win all of the games.
Yeah, I actually think this is a great move for them because they acquired Reckless from Fnatic last year, who was a very passive AD carry, but a very good hyper carry late game. And Crepo is a aggressive support player, and you need the mesh of players. You can't have two passive players in the lane. So I think he's going to bring a lot of experience. I do too. Crepo's a great guy. We've talked to him drunkenly before. True story.
I say what you do is you just gather a bunch of players together and you go, we're undefeated despite having played a match. And you play a match until you lose. And then you break the team up, shuffle them around a little bit, and then start a new team. And they claim, I am undefeated.
That's pretty much what Elements is doing. He played this weekend. He played pretty fucking well, actually. The first game was a little shaky, but I feel like it is a step up, definitely. He has to kind of get the dust off, so I'm going to give him a few weeks before he actually does well. But that's for EU. That's really the only big EU shake-up this week. The next team roster change comes in Korea. SKT actually didn't start a new player, but they picked up a new jungler named Tom. His name is Tom. Added to the roster. Yeah. I think this is possibly them trying to light a fire under current jungler Bangi and try to make him perform better because he's kind of underperforming. And the week they got Tom, which is this weekend, he actually did perform a lot better. So I don't know if he was just slacking because he felt like he had a solid job.
What a fuck you to
But-
Tom.
They're trying to spook him.
We don't care about you. We just want you to fucking drive the other guy to do better.
That's that's a common sports thing. You get players to threaten people's jobs, and they start performing better. And Spangy's played really well this week, so it looks like it did work. Because I've been talking forever that SKT's jungler is their problem. Because they have the best mid laner ever to play the game, the best League of Legends player ever to game, and they didn't do so well last year. Someone's got to pick up the slack there, and I thought it was Bangy.
Someone needs to name their jungler Agent Orange.
Also, Sean.
Yes.
Crepo, former shoutcaster.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. I didn't want to just tell Disease that he was and be wrong.
No, yes. So Crepo went from former support player, and then he became a caster this year. He retired, became a caster, and then was offered the spot on the team. Then it was like, I'm taking this job because I'm meant to play the game because I'm a badass.
Gotta put me in, coach.
Yeah.
More fucking young
And they
kids.
did.
I'll show you how it's done.
Pretty much. And then also in Korea, Najin's organization actually mixed up the roster a lot. So fangirls in Korea love Watch, Najin's jungler. He's been their jungler since 2011, like pre-season 1. Huge fan favorite, and they finally kicked him to the curb because he's not a good jungler, and he was just riding this wave of fame to stay in. Like, he had to know where the bodies were hidden to stay on this fucking team.
Hey, baby, that's where I hope to go. I don't want to have any real talent. I just want to go on a wave
So-
of personality and limp on into the sunset.
They finally replaced him and someone else on the roster. I can't remember who it was, but the Watch was the big one, and replaced by a dude named Peanut, who actually performed extremely well. Oh, it was the mid laner. They replaced Kuro. Not Kuro. Nagne. And their first game was against SKT, so this new mid laner, his first matchup was against Faker. His first professional game
Oh
was
my
against
god.
the best League of Legends player in history. They got shit
That's
on.
rough. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
rough.
But Peanut, who replaced Watch, did play extremely well. I'm really psyched to see this dude kind of develop with a really good organization in Najin, because they're known to have good teams. They're just kind of in their rebuilding phase right now, like a lot of Korean teams are right now, because they've been around forever. So I'm really excited to see these talented players with an actual good organization around them.
We have a question from chat asking you, Sean, there. How is Arrow doing? Now, last time I heard, Arrow was doing very successfully on the CW. They had a bunch of guest people come on. They apparently
Great TV
brought out
show,
Jake's
actually.
Deathstroke.
Flash came off of it. No, KT is
I
doing
hate Steven.
terrible right now. KT's doing terrible right now, and Arrow is their AD carry. For those of you who don't know, Hachani, his support, actually just stepped down because Hachani is performing pretty terrible. I will say this: Arrow and Score, their jungler, are the only two that's really carrying their weight. Well, actually, I take that back. Arrow and Duke are the only two that are carrying their weight. Duke's their top laner, Arrow's their AD carry. But KT is possibly the second to worst team in Korea. But Arrow, he's still doing strong. He has that Draven pocket pick, which is really interesting. He doesn't really play anymore, which I think he should, because fuck it, you're in second to last. You're not going to win the split. Just go hard on people.
Play for spite.
You pretty much.
Or play for fun.
And then the big thing I want to talk about,
Want.
the big thing I want to talk about is in the Chinese region, where OMG played EDG this week, and it's the best two teams in China, possibly the best two teams in the world. And OMG in the preseason kind of stirred up the pot by trading for Uzi, who's possibly the best AD carry in the world, the best hyper carry in the world easily, and put him on his team with Cool and Going. They're solo laners who are known as carry laners. Now, when you see this team on paper, you think, oh my god, this team's going to shit on people. Uzi actually got benched during one of these games because they weren't performing well. And I think it was actually a good decision. And the reason why I think this is because you can't have 3 hard carries on one team. There's simply not enough farm to go around.
Now, for the unenlightened, what is a hard carry?
Yeah, it's what I was about to break down after this little segment. There's not enough farm to go around for hard carries. And what a hard carry is basically there's 2 people on your team that are the carry focus points that do all the damage, and you have to protect those 2 people, basically. They're the ones that are going to win you the team fight. Like, the ones that do all the damage while everyone else is kind of utility builds or tanky.
Because you need to keep alive.
Yes. Now, in the game, you get farm to get you gold. there's not enough farm in the game itself for 3 players to get this big late game. Maybe if you go to like 60 minutes, which is very rare in a pro game.
Each one of them are consuming too much of the pie for the other two.
Exactly.
To grow off
and
of it.
They all have this like it's their play style. They don't work well together, and this is why the only team in history that's ever been good with a 3 carry system was SKT in season 3, and that's because the meta, which is what the in-game structure is at the time, it changes a lot, and that's why only SKT has ever been pulled this off. Mainly because Faker was the greatest Zed player ever, and in that time period, Zed was extremely strong. So they just know how to do it. And after the meta shifted, they went to shit and broke up their team. Now OMG is kind of trying to do what they did in season 3 and season 5, and it's not working because the game has changed so much. You can't have these 3 huge name star players. It's just not going to happen. So I think at the end of the season, OMG is going to lose one of these players just because they're going to see playing time. And honestly, I hope it's Uzi, because Going and Cool have been part of OMG forever. They're established there. And I'd like to see Uzi go to a team that needs a carry support laner. Like, I can't even think of one right now, honestly, because he's too hyper aggressive. So it's really sad to see like this phenomenal player not be able to fit with any teams in China. He might have to go to Korea, which would actually be kind of a change up from all these Koreans going to China.
You got a strong back. America could use you.
That's true, man. We
Good Easterners actually like refuse to give it NA. It's like disgraceful to them.
I was going
to
make a Carry On Wayward Son joke, but fucked if I can remember who's saying that. Was it Boston?
Yes. Kansas?
Okay.
Boston.
Kansas.
One of them.
Kansas?
Yeah, Kansas.
Africa.
Ario Speedwagon.
Toto.
Toto.
Brains in Africa. I got the reference.
Thanks.
Anything else?
But yes, it is kind of the Piglet thing that Aziz brought up. Piglet was another hard carry. So when the SKT thing happened, what I was talking about when the meta shifted away from this triple threat team comp, Piglet was the one that kicked off the team, which was the AD carry. Uzi's the AD carry. I can see the same thing happening.
Well, I'm running out of beer, so do you guys have anything else you want to add to this? Sean, do you have any more esports commentary you want to bring up?
Nope.
I just fucking spilled this over myself.
Nope.
Son of a bitch.
I'm done. Dude, you should learn to drink.
I know I should.
And learn to watch Marvel movies.
I need to. David, do you have anything you want to add in before you wrap up?
I'll save it for next week. I got some things, but we'll wait for the end of this week of just shit tons of news and gaming with PAX coming up and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll have plenty to talk about next week. So
Sounds good. We have run a little bit long today. Thank you for watching us if you're watching live. And if you're watching on YouTube, once again, feel free to comment down in the channel below with any comments, questions, concern. This, of course, has been GamePoints. If you like us, you can follow us at Twitter at GamePointsPC. You can email the show at GamePointsPC@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns if you want to